Hey, welcome to the Mothership, where we discuss conspiracy, oddities, and things that go bump in the night with a live audience. Join in the conversation and tell us your experiences there in chat. And yeah, we're gonna talk about ghosts tonight.
Ooh, how you doing, LoFi?
Oh man, I am doing great. How you been, SPG?
Man, Sierra and I, we celebrated our 8-year anniversary today. Man, we had a
Yes, happy
blast.
anniversary.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
We hung out. We went to eat, where we went out on our first date, and now we're here with you, fine folks, getting ready to discuss some ghostly encounters. Wilson, how the hell are you, sir?
Howdy, folks, and can I say happy anniversary to the pair of the Pipers?
Ooh.
Thank you.
But I am doing well. I'm up at silly o'clock, but went aren't I? And I'm looking forward to talking about some ghost stories with yous.
Well, we appreciate you being with us, Wilson. You know we love your face.
Definitely.
Well, I believe everybody has a perspective on ghosts, man, stemming from shows like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, all the way to all the little clips that you can find on YouTube and the channels that don't need shout outs, like Nuka Top 10 and Slapped Ham. I love that one. Slapped
Right.
Ham's one of my favorites.
Even the Y-Files, they
Yep.
do some interesting stuff. And what I like about the Y-Files is they'll like break it down. They'll tell it to you like it's real, and then they'll explain like the legitness and everything of
Yeah,
it.
or
It's-
how not real it was. Yeah. I do like that. But everybody's got their own kind of perspective on it. It is mainstream. It goes way back, like probably
Oh, yeah.
since the dawn of man, since the first
Right.
time somebody's uncle croaked, and something.
And
weird
everybody's had
happened.
to at least take consideration of. It's something
Absolutely.
everybody's thought of at one point in time.
And I guess I would like to open the show by asking everybody on the panel is like, ghosts, do you believe in them? That's one thing because like you get a bunch of people in the room and the room will be divided, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
always oh, that's just bullshit, and there are some people that are like, oh no, it's legit, and like everybody's had experiences, and so I'm just curious on your take, like as ghosts, like what do you think?
See, I really want to believe in them. I want to, and I want to believe that there's things out there that we can interact with or that might be interacting with our world. But I'm just so skeptical of all the bullshitters out there. I'm skeptical of all the TV shows that you see and all the people with the local businesses who are ghost hunters or who are tarot card readers or whatever. I don't trust like 90% of them. I really don't. I feel like to find the ones that who might be genuine, it's sifting through so much garbage. It turns you off.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question real quick before moving on to Lo-Fi and getting his take. So you do not believe in the phenomenon, but you would like it to be real.
No, I believe in it, but I'm incredibly skeptical for most stories that I hear, or most people who are in that sphere.
Okay, so he
okay.
believes
I
that it's a
gotcha.
possibility,
Okay.
but people telling stories is just storytelling.
Okay, so what's your take,
Mhm.
Lo-Fi? Before we
So,
get into
like-
our personal stories, if we do have them, because we're going to get into that. And we would love to hear all of your guys. We would love for you guys to chime in. Let us know if you have a ghost story. Let us know if you believe. We see that you believe, Ray. And that's amazing. We're going to have to get another story time with Ray.
And Rue Diggs, I would like to see this picture.
But all right, Lo-Fi. So what's your take, man?
Well, I'm not like a journey thing, but I do know Einstein was.
But
a
you play
genius.
one on the internet. Come
I
on,
play.
man.
I pretend to be one on the internet, right?
Damn right.
But Einstein said that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So I mean,
It can be transferred. Yeah.
yeah, it can be transferred
Transmuted.
into like different form. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Thank you, Rue.
I believe, that makes it makes sense to me that there would be something beyond on this plane of existence of what that would be. But I do, as far as ghosts go, I believe that deep important. right? And I think
absolutely.
that
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
having a strong, there's nothing wrong with being a strong skeptic, even when you do
Man,
believe
if you
in
don't do
something.
if you believe in that phenomenon and you don't debunk, every time the wind blows, you're gonna think something crazy's happening. I mean, come on now.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
that's, that goes into that everybody's had experiences that very well could have been but there's a bunch of different scientific factors behind everything.
Yeah.
I think that, some things that we feel are just something due to what we can explain. And then other things are just completely unexplainable, if that makes sense.
Right on. My take is I believe in the phenomenon. Now, what let me be specific on the phenomenon that I'm impressed with. If you can walk into a room and there's nobody there to speak to you, and you can record voices, even if you can't audibly hear them, and then play them back. And I'm not talking about hard to hear whispers or like I have to tell you what it's saying and then play it back so you can hear it. Nah, that ain't what I mean. I mean, that specific thing. You can get real EVPs, real voice phenomenon. I don't know what that is, but it is a phenomenon.
Well, Edison and Tesla both invented ghost phones.
Yes, they did, which is very interesting, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So I believe in that. I also believe that see, when you're dealing with personal accounts, as LoFi said, that you can't take somebody for their word. There's a whole lot of bullshitters out there. But here's the thing, though: when it really comes down to it, at its core, if one of those people that are telling you about that incredible experience, and they're not bullshitting you, and they're not exaggerating, and they're not misrepresenting what they saw, or just misseeing stuff, seeing it wrong.
Sorry, I had to look up Rudig's picture. I got really curious.
He does look scared. I'll give it that. Sorry, audience. You guys didn't see that, but she brought up a picture. But anyway, I believe a lot in the phenomenon, but what it is, I don't know. If one person can say they saw somebody run out of a bank, shoot a deputy, get in a car and drive away, and you can send him to death row, but you can't take that same guy's word for seeing something strange. So, but if somebody did see an apparition and that is 100% real, what is that? Is that a dead person? Is that a spirit? Is that the soul of somebody that was departed?
Right.
I don't know.
Like appear into another dimension, another time, another place.
It's definitely interesting. Now that's my take on it. Now Sierra's got her own take on it.
I definitely believe it's like real. I guess as far as thinking about it as it being like, oh, that was Jim Bob that lived here before us, but the energy is there. And like, you think about all these old historic homes, right? Just like you walk up to a historic home and you're instantly like, this place is going to be haunted. Like history is recorded in the materials around us.
Well, that's one of the theories,
and so maybe it could be any variety of things, but I definitely do believe I've had a couple experiences myself that could be really hard to debunk and discredit, I guess. But that's the wonderful thing about everybody has experiences, and whether they just shake it off as, oh, it was
I mean the interesting fact is, to me, if it was a bunch of dead people, everywhere would be so haunted.
Oh yeah,
I mean everywhere would be haunted. I mean,
Ray says,
so many
I seen
people
a guy
have
in a
died.
suit run out of a graveyard. He ran in front of my car. He stopped and kept running. His eyes.
I mean, Wilson, just think of the plague that happened in the UK. Okay? Think of the plague, bro. How many people are just hanging out on the street corners? Like, bro. I mean, that is the only reason I don't believe it's dead people. Now, there are other theories. What are some of those theories, LoFi? We discussed one of them anyway.
Everybody's familiar with all these ghost hunting shows, and I saw one a while back, and I really wish I could remember the name of it. It's a show that got canceled during its first, I think before the first season even got completed.
Oh wow!
I remember it was one of the guys that he was I guess he was estranged from the Ghost Adventure guys, and I'm not too big on the Ghost Adventure guys.
Yeah.
Just not,
Yeah, well,
they're not
and
my thing.
like all
Well,
of
But this
that
guy,
is
well, go ahead.
entertainment. You
Yeah,
have to take it with a grain of
right.
salt.
Those
like,
shows are heavily theatrical. They got underlying music and they set a mood and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
not to discredit the things that actually do happen in these places. It's just like the media and everything likes to make a mockery of it. Like if you
Yes,
if you
of course,
believe in ghosts, if you believe in Bigfoot, if you believe in aliens, you're crazy. You know what I mean?
Now I see why
I say
Rudig's
that with quotation marks.
Right.
I don't feel that way.
Where's your tinfoil hat?
Sierra.
Yeah.
read that comment. That's why Rudig's looks so scared in his photo. Anyway.
Goodness.
So Wilson, what's your take? What do you think they're dead people, or do you agree that there should be like hundreds of people just wandering, or like if you were a medium or you were sensitive to that, if you believe in that, even because that's a whole nother topic, I guess. But if you're sensitive to that, you'd think that you'd be picking up on all kinds of spirits all over the place. What do you think?
I think, see, I don't have a set. I'm not set in stone on what I believe in because I don't think, because we don't know, we just don't know, and it's all well and great theorizing about it, and I'd like to think about it, but there's so many things that could be that could be the case. I mean, I'm a Christian at heart, so I like to believe in angels and going to heaven and some form of hell and blah blah blah, but also that doesn't displace the very other possibility of other things that aren't mentioned in the Bible exist, and the Bible does also mention spirits as well. So it's I don't know what to exactly think they are or what is there or what could be there. But it sounds that everyone's got a story, and there's been stories for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's got to be something that we're not seeing that's interacting with us or that's going on alongside us. I just don't know what it is. It could be ghosts, it could be angels, it could be bloody things that we don't have a word for. You know what I mean?
It could be, like LoFi mentioned, it could be alternate dimensions. We could be experiencing some kind of time dilation.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Anything of the sort.
This guy,
Anything of the sort.
His theory was
that. Please explain this, LoFi.
Well, like when people say they encounter in quote unquote intelligent hauntings, that maybe that was just a rip in time where it's looping through, and they had him in a prison cell where people had said they heard a person's voice, and it was the same thing, whatever it was. But the thing is, he took a spirit box in there, and he decided to go with his theory where he's going to talk to this entity, and but he's going to talk to it knowing that it's somebody in the past, and where everybody else said they just kept hearing the same little whispers, he actually had like this full-on conversation, and it made sense because it really did sound like he was talking to a guy in a jail cell who thought he was going crazy because he could hear voices, and it made me think, well, what if in his time they put him in the cell and kind of forgot about him because he thought he was hearing voices, but really he's picking up on somebody from,
like, you're like, oh, that dude's crazy, ignore him, he's talking to himself.
But really, he was talking to this guy on the.
Hey,
yeah,
man. Hey, I think that stuff may be possible. I think that that when you if we had all the if we had the whole map laid out in front of us of how our universe actually worked, I think it's going to be stranger than fiction. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I think that the more onion peel that you dive through or peel back,
the weirder it gets.
Yeah, we do live in a very weird world. Shout out to William Shatner. So all right, so we're gonna get into our own personal stories, but I want to start with a haunted airline story. This story is really freaking cool, man.
And can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I asked him if we could bring this up because to me, this is like one of the instances of a haunting, and I say that with quotation marks, that there's multiple people experience the same thing.
Yes.
And I mean, it wasn't
It's
like
not
a
one
he
drunk.
said, she
Yeah,
said. It happened to multiple people
Yes.
over a span of time.
You're talking about it happening in a cab of an airline, like with people with like hundreds of rows of seats. So like lots of people seeing this, what I'm about to tell you. So all right, let me jump into this story here. Now it was also it's connected to a very tragic accident. As I'm reading this story, I'm not taking any of these lives for granted. This is an absolute tragic event. And it was an absolute accident. All right, on December 29th, 1972, a Lockheed TriStar Eastern Airline flight of 401 crashed in South Florida. 101 of 176 people on board died, including the entire cockpit crew. It was an aviation disaster of yet unseen scale, and the one to be caused by a mere distraction. So basically what happened is they took off in this brand new plane, and they go out over the Everglades, and they're messing about, and they get done with their flight, and they're getting ready to land or whatever. They're coming in, so they get ready to drop their landing gear, and one of their lights starts blinking, dink 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 on the dash, and they're like, man, our landing gear, what? There's something wrong with it. So they send a guy down below, and he goes and looks, and he says he doesn't see anything wrong, blah 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 blah, and they're all debating, well, it can't be the something wrong with the wiring or anything. We got a problem with our thing. Anyway, they put it in manual or whatever, autopilot. And as they put it in autopilot, they're all discussing. The pilot bumps the controls with his foot or his leg or his knee, whatever, the flight controls. Once you bump the controls or you move them, the plane and the autopilot believes that you've taken control of the plane. So they're in the dark at night over in the Everglades, and they can't see anything like through the cockpit. You know what I'm saying? And they're going by their instruments. Well, anyway, they end up crashing. As the crash was investigated, parts of the aircraft were collected. Rumors began to spread. Some said that salvaged parts were used in other L-1011s. And those parts were cursed. So this is within the facility. So usually what happens when an aviation disaster occurs, they take a plane and they completely rebuild it. All the parts, they lay it all out. And they try to figure out.
It's like James Dean's car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So they reconstruct the plane as best as possible, and they figure out exactly what happened. And some of the parts, because this was a brand new production vehicle, they could salvage some of it, and they did. So but within the industry, within the airlines themselves, Eastern Airlines, there started to be rumors that this was done. Pilots said they started to see ghosts, souls of dead Flight 401 crew members flying on airlines and airplanes. The airline tried to go after people spreading those stories, but it did not work. According to some accounts, they even punished some of their employees for talking about it.
They actively discouraged them to report any weird things. They actively discouraged them to talk about it at all, really.
Yeah, so what ended up happening is they this plane had a full-fledged kitchen in it. Like, it was a big plane, man. Mm-hmm. They used some of the kitchen stuff, and people saw.
Well, how many people you said was in it?
Out of 100, excuse me, out of 176, 101 died.
Yeah,
so
that's
only
a lot
75.
That's
but
a
the
huge aircraft. Yeah,
but the people that were seen though were the pilots and the co-pilot. There's a few instances of these stories where not only did crew members and the captain, but other passengers witness these ghosts on these planes sitting in a seat. 1 second they're there, everyone's reacting to them like, what the hell? And then they're gone. Wow. Like this supposedly did happen. So that's one of the stories. But you mentioned James Dean. Tell us a little bit about that, LoFi.
Oh, well, I've always heard that there was the curse of James Dean's car. He had gotten in an accident and passed away. And people had taken bits and pieces of that car and then used it to to repair other ones, I guess, right?
And those cars
And
got into accidents as well, and
accidents and
bad stuff
yeah,
happened to the owners. Gotcha.
Oh
yeah,
goodness.
the curse of James Dean's car.
So thinking about that, that is a ghost story that is actually involves souls, or like Sierra was mentioning, like some people believe that there's a few different types of hauntings. One of them is an intelligent haunting to where you could communicate back and forth. There's another type of haunting that is like it repeats itself or is on like a loop, or um, it's gonna do its thing if you're there or not.
Like
You
a
know what I mean?
residual, they call it a residual haunting,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Well, some people believe that the materials around us, much like a cassette tape that you put in your cassette deck and hit record, that some of these materials can store energy, and some of that energy can store variations of history, almost like a video recorder would record onto tape. I know that sounds crazy, but
Well, some people think maybe like that's why the pyramids were certain stone.
that's interesting.
Oh wow!
Now,
I didn't know that.
We're about to the point where I would like to ask everybody their personal stories, because I think this is where it gets very interesting. Ray shared a portion of one of his personal stories. I'd love to have him on to actually hear it.
God, Ray has some hell of a stories.
Yeah, Ray is one
around
hell of a
everything.
storyteller. He absolutely is. But all right, starting with you, Wilson, man. What is your personal experience? And if it's not yours, explain to us what it is.
It isn't mine. I don't have a personal experience, but I've been told. So when I was younger, my mum told me about this. My mum had a personal experience with ghosts. And I've not heard the story relayed in a couple of years, so I might have a couple of details slightly off. But the vague premise of it is that so she was told at a young age. She's on her side of the family. We've got gypsy blood. We're from gypsy heritage, Irish gypsies. Her grandmother, I think, was when we stopped being gypsies, but she used to go around in the caravans and whatnot. And she was told that they had some type of like spiritual stuff in the blood and that they could interact and see things and whatnot. But my mum always thought it was hocus pocus. Anyway, later in life, much later in life, when I was a little kid, when we were a happy little nuclear family about 10, 15 years ago, and I had a brother and a sister and a mother and a dad, and we lived in a nice big happy house. We had a big drive on this big happy house, and one day my mum was out at the top end of the drive, working on plants or whatever, and my dad was out there with her, and she saw someone come up the drive, and it was someone from her childhood. I think it was someone she was really close to, or some family that that she hadn't seen in a while. And she didn't believe that it was them. She had to take a second look, and then she shouted at my dad to tell them that they were there, or he shouted at her, get her attention for something or whatever. So she looked away for a second, looked back, and they were gone. The very next day, she got a call that that person had died that day that she'd seen them, the day before.
Wow. Stories like that give me the goosebumps. It's just insane.
Go ahead and finish, Wilson.
Sorry.
But then about 2 weeks later, the exact same thing happened. Someone from her childhood, or someone who it was an old family member or whatever, saw them walk up the drive, looked away for a split second, looked back, they weren't there. Next day got a call, they had died the day prior. Twice.
Now, Wilson, you say that you were very skeptical. Now I know that you don't. I know that you don't doubt you're the person who told you the story, your mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think that was? Do you think that she saw the departed? Do you think that she was communing with them somehow before they passed, or do you think that she was just sort of clairvoyant and it was like her subconscious almost manifesting them? And then her look back, and they're gone, and then they're actually like gone. Do you know what I mean? What would you attribute that to?
I don't know. She always, when she would talk about it, she would get really emotional and it's scared and panicky because she, like I say, she always thought it was hocus pocus when she was told it when she was younger. But when she saw that, she just didn't know what to make of it. It's one of those things where like she couldn't get it out of her mind for a good while. And when she did talk about it, she would get a bit emotional and a little bit like shake and she'd say that she wouldn't have a clue what it's meant to be, if that was them saying goodbye to her, if that was her just like having some extra knowledge of something behind the scenes.
Okay.
And for some
I'm
reason she
gonna-
could see the strings being tugged or what. But
because you shared a personal story about your mom, I'm going to share a personal story about my dad. My dad grew up with his best friend Harold. They grew up together. They stayed at each other's house. They went to school together. They grew into men together. Okay, and he ended up getting cancer, and he passed. And he was my dad's bedrock, like best friends, like if
Brothers.
yeah, brothers. They were actually brothers. Anyway, the night of his passing, my dad slept on the couch downstairs. Now, I cannot say that it was very real to my dad. Very, very, very real. But he slept on the couch, and in the middle of the night, he sat up. And it ended up waking my mom up, and it scared the shit out of her. But he sat up and had a whole conversation with Harold. Like,
oh, wow.
Was talking to a dude who wasn't there.
Mhm.
Like, he wasn't conscious, like looking at my mom and talking to her too. Okay. But like, almost like the only other way I could explain it is like he had a psychotic break.
I was going to say, like, your dad wasn't there talking to someone's spirit who wasn't there.
It was weird. Anyway, he sat up and he had a whole conversation with Harold and fucking said his goodbyes and stuff, and then he laid back down. It was like it was a dream, but his body acted it out. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, but he says, no, I was visited by Harold and I said my goodbyes to my best friend.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
there is something to be said about stories like this, though, because if you share an intense connection with somebody, and it's not even like a relationship, but you just bond with someone on a certain level, like stories about like this are common, you know? And I believe that humans can have a little extra. And in the token of your dad's story, you know, when we go to sleep, who knows how and what our brain unlocks.
Yeah, I mean, chop it up to him just being super emotional and his subconscious was dealing with it that way. I mean, break it down however you want, but to my dad, it was a real thing, and he felt that he did get to say his goodbye. But it was very much like in a dream state, and that's another reason I bring it up. Lo-Fi, you don't have any ghost stories of your own, but you do have something that's similar to that kind of a state.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to, we can, it's probably a whole other show.
It is.
But,
well, and we can go a little longer than an hour too. I'm totally digging this conversation. I think that the energy's going good.
But anyway, yeah,
to love it as well.
I just want to hear.
Yeah, thanks for everybody joining up.
I just want to hear a little bit about that, Lo-Fi. It is a whole show unto itself, because that is something else into a whole spiritual show. It is.
But it kind of started out as lucid dreams when I was a kid, and then it started becoming these dreams where I would be flying over the house, flying through the city, and like just like craziness, right? But it was like a little, and then it got weird because I started having like lucid dreams. I would slowly like gain control of it. But anyway, a lot of people call it like astral projection, and I remember there was
to be frank, lucid dreaming and astral projection are very different. Because lucid dreaming is recognizing that you're dreaming, but astral projection is your soul leaves your body to go out to play.
Yeah,
in the actual universe,
which is what some people think that sleeping is. But go ahead.
Kind of like the ghost door from Lock and Key.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and I could get into those details, but the point of where I'm getting is like there was a moment where it happened, and I was in my aunt's house and I was walking around, and there was people walking around inside the house that I didn't recognize, and they were kind of avoiding me, so I thought maybe they didn't see me or something. But then and I could hear them speaking to each other, but there was a moment where they did, see me, and they told one of them told the other that he's not supposed to be here. And anyway, there was just little moments like that where like I can't, that
Wow.
something had to be they were there. I saw them. They existed. Um, so I know there has to be something. There's something going on. There's something to that.
Yeah.
I do have one question for the panel real quick, because I got thinking about dreams that I've had that it's totally unrelated, but it's popped into my head. Have you ever had dreams where you're jumping really, 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 really high, and then like you think you're gonna fall, and then you stick it like, I don't know, like you can be like a super leaper or something.
No.
I have had dreams like that, like over and over and over again for like since I was a little kid, where I'd just be like jumping and like.
Wow. Yeah, most people have flying dreams.
So I am prone to nightmares. Pretty much every single dream that I get is a nightmare.
Yeah, you talk in your sleep, bro.
Oh, I do more than talk. I scream, and yeah, no, I'm not a good sleeper. And it's mostly because of what goes on through my sleep. If when you're dreaming, you're interacting with other worlds or whatever, bro, the worlds that I'm in are not pleasant ones. but I've got this one dream that I've had dreams, but they're very, very rare. They're always nightmares typically. But there's one dream that I do remember from my childhood, and it was similar to what Sierra was saying about jumping, and I was on an ice cream planet, right? And I was in my childhood, all right. So forgive for how simple this is, but it was amazing, and I look back on it now very fondly, and I've still got a craw about how it ended, because we were going on holiday that very morning, and I was woke up by my mother and father at about 5 a.m. that morning, interrupting that dream, and I just tried to get back off to sleep for another 20 minutes to get back to it, and I couldn't. But anyway, I was on an ice cream planet taking bites of ice cream, and then I looked up and saw another ice cream planet, and I jumped, and I could jump between planets, and I jumped to the other ice cream planet, and I jumped from like strawberry to mint, and took some big bites of that, and the next thing I knew, I could see all these planets up in the sky, and I was jumping from planet to planet, and they were all big balls of ice cream, and then I got woke up with some bloody dry toast and said, "Get your shorts on, David. We're going to Greece."
Well, I cannot attest to that. But what I can attest to, though, the only spiritual, like ghostly, otherworldly encounter that I had with possibly like a spirit or the other side or the ghost phenomenon itself, there was a family called the Severins, Florence Severins. Roger Severins and a guy named Bob lived there. They had a couple of kids. They were kind of hillbilly-ish, man. This house was a very old house, and they ate animals all year round. They would go hunting even if it wasn't in season, if you know what I mean. But anyway, to make a long story short, I was about, I don't know, man, about 5 or 6 years old, and I fell asleep in front of their TV with two other kids laying next to me. They were watching a scary movie, which does not help, okay? But they were watching a scary movie. I ended up turning my head and I fell asleep. Anyway, I woke up in the middle of the night. The TV's off. There's a guy sleeping on the couch. I got a kid on either side of me, and I'm 6. And I've got an Afghan blanket, and I don't know if you know what that is, but an Afghan blanket has holes in it. It's crocheted or knitted or something like that.
You can see through it.
Yeah, you can see through it. You know, it's not like a comforter that you can pull over your head. Okay. Anyway, so I'm laying there, and a car drives by, and the headlights go through the bay window or whatever and reflect off of something, and it goes. I notice a light still on the ceiling. I start watching, and this light, it starts doing a circular motion around this shitty chandelier they had up there, or light fixture, whatever. It was in the shape of a chandelier. It wasn't a chandelier. But anyway, so this light, it starts going around this chandelier, and then it splits off into 2 lights, and they start slowly going around the chandelier. I get scared. I sit straight up, and I turn, look at the guy on the couch, say his name. He doesn't wake up. And then I turned to look towards Florence's bedroom. So the way the living room was set up, man, if you went into this little area, you could walk straight forward into a bathroom, or you could turn left and go into a bedroom, or turn right and go into a bedroom. I looked into that nook, and in front of the bathroom door, it looked like a fucking bathrobe. And I'm trying to focus, and I see a shape, and then I can make out the bathrobe, and I think it's Florence, which is my old babysitter, and I yell out, Florence, Florence. She doesn't say shit. I turn back and look at the guy on the couch. I look up, the lights are still going. I turn back. I still can't make out. I can make out arms, legs. It's leaning on the wall. I can make out its clothes. I couldn't make it out. I got terrified. I laid back down through that Afghan over my head.
Yeah.
And I could still see the lights on the ceiling. I shut my eyes. I remember waking up the next morning. That's the only...
God.
Now, in the next morning, I got up and looked at that nook. There was nothing that could be hung there. Nothing at all. Like there wasn't like a way you could throw a bathrobe up there, stick it to a nail or
and
something.
it was just stood there, like
It
still.
It was just staring at me.
Oh,
Leaned up against the wall, not reacting to
bro.
me at all. Terrified me, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did not like that house, man. And they did weird shit to us in that house too. One Halloween, Bob, the crazy bastard, climbed out on the roof with a chainsaw and cranked it up right outside the bedroom windows, like to scare us.
Yeah.
I didn't like going over there, bro. But I literally
Crazy
though,
cousin like that. Yeah.
I got scared and I was looking for adult help. And I thought that was adult help for a minute. So that impacted me very deeply because of that. I wasn't sleeping. You know what I mean? That wasn't a dream. Like,
right.
Yeah, man, that wasn't a dream. Now, I would like Sierra to share her experiences. And then I've got another one of these magnificent stories. This one from the UK to share with you.
Dope. Let's do it.
So, back before I met William, I was at home with my dad, and I had Buckley at this point, and everybody was going to be gone. My dad and my siblings were going to a concert in another state, and I hate staying alone at night. Like, it's weird. Like, if I can have a friend stay with me, I will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I pick up my best friend, we hang out, and then we both had to work in the morning. We both worked at the same place. So I was like, okay, like just stay at my house. That way I don't have to be alone and I can give you a ride to work. And so we get all settled in, and well, like best friends do, you share a bed. Like it's, what girls do at sleepovers. And I put Buckley in the kennel. I'm laying on the outside of the bed and she's laying on the inside. And she said at like 2:00 for context, I snore like a chainsaw, really loud. Okay. So my snoring.
Now you'd think that would be a problem, but I think I snore like a chainsaw too. So I just fall asleep first.
But at 2:00 on the dot, my snoring woke her up. And she went to go nudge me to tell me to wake me up, to tell me that I was snoring and to go back to sleep. And the lights in the hallway start flickering off and on. Like all the, it was a modular home. So like the way it was set up, like the room we were staying in had a bathroom on one side, and then across the hall. You
could from her bedroom, you could look all the way down the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I turned the lights off before we went to bed, and she goes to wake me up, and then the lights start flickering off and on. Buckley is going bananas in his kennel, like he's freaking out, like something's trying to get to him and something's trying to hurt him. The lights are still flickering off and on, and I stop snoring, and I stop breathing. And Ashley's shaking me. She's trying to wake me up, and she's trying to wake me up, and I'm not waking up, and the lights are flickering off and on, and Buckley's going bananas in his kennel. And she said she got to the point where she was starting to get scared because I wasn't waking up. I wasn't breathing. like she thought something wasn't right and she was starting to panic. She goes, I didn't know what to do. And then she said, after about 2 minutes, I started breathing and snoring again. The lights stopped flickering off and on, and Buckley calmed down. And then I woke up the next morning and all the lights that I had turned off were on.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you were possessed.
Yeah.
Or what they believe poltergeist activity could be is a young person in their prime, usually during puberty. It can be their it's like telekinesis. You're causing things to happen just from your emotions and the stuff going on in your own head, and you're not trying to do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's interesting. It does sound like you were possessed. I think Rudigs has got a point.
There's a clip going around the internet that story reminds me of, where like these two girls, they're in their bedroom and they're, you know, they.
I thought you were going.
Is this two girls, one cup?
No. I didn't go
so
because that's the Twilight Zone. All right, go ahead.
So one of them wakes up in the middle of the night, because I guess, who knows? Maybe they went to the bathroom or whatever, but they're standing between the two beds. They're just standing there, staring straight ahead. And this girl wakes up and sees her standing there, staring straight ahead, and she's like, she can't get her to stop. So she picks up her phone and starts recording her, and you can see her. She's like calling out her name, and she can't get her to react, and she can't get her to move. And she starts screaming for her mom to come in there, and her mom comes in there and starts, she has to shake her to get her to wake up. And like
that was creepy as hell.
It's one of those things, like when you watch it back and like you can see like the girl's not blinking and you see like a tear come.
There's
just,
like
drop out of her eye.
Nothing there, like just blank, just like staring at this chick. And she's like, hey, like she starts to get really scared. I got nervous watching.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I have a UK story for you. Since Wilson is joining us tonight, he might even know where this place is. Who knows? Maybe these people were Cockneys. We have no idea.
Oh my god.
In August 1977, single parent Peggy Hodgson called the Metropolitan Police to her rented home at 284 Green Street in Enfield, London, claiming she had witnessed furniture moving and that 2 of her 4 children had heard knocking sounds coming from within the walls. The children included Margaret, 13, Janet, 11. The woman called the constable, who showed up, and the constable confessed to witnessing a chair wobble and slide across the floor by itself. They investigated. The police that showed up investigated and debunked and said, I don't know how that could be possible.
Wow.
Real quick,
go ahead.
And I would like to say though, just how much creepy stuff like cops really do encounter. Like, I follow a couple pages on TikTok that it's like straight up like scary things that cops have experienced, and they see some crazy shit.
That's funny, man. Another story from my family. Now, my family does have some ghost stories in it. Now this isn't a ghost story necessarily, but just the vibes. My cousin, he became a police officer in Three Rivers, okay? And he patrolled and stuff. Now, when he was a kid, he went to stuff like Bruce Lee camp during the summers and stuff. He lifted weights. He was athletic. He really liked martial arts, and he liked sparring and fighting. So it was a natural fit for him to become a cop, okay? Mm-hmm. Kind of an adrenaline junkie, all that stuff. He was prepared. Yeah. He was a regular cop. So anyway, what he would have to do is he would have to patrol at night sometimes. And there's an old abandoned hospital that he would have to clear sometimes. And he refused to enter the building. He went in there one night, clearly chasing a fucking shadow. And there was nobody in there. He said if there was a man in there, they could have murdered him because he couldn't fucking find them, and he chased them in there.
Oh God.
And he said he'll never go in that building. He won't clear the building itself. He'll go check the
Well,
doors.
I've been kind of
make
waiting.
sure they're locked, but he won't go in there.
I've been kind of waiting for Wilson to talk about Kellen.
Oh, bro, I don't even want to talk about that stuff. I know we went into the lands of dreams here instead of ghosts, haven't we? But
yeah, that is
yeah.
definitely a different topic.
If we do end up doing a whole show on that, I would like to have Wilson back for that.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. But this claim here, I'm not even sure what the Enfield poltergeist is what this is called. It's been debunked, or some people tried to debunk it. But the what did they call them? The constables that were on site that witnessed this stuff that was very strange and confessed to seeing it, they're still on record as saying they saw what they saw and couldn't figure out what did it. So those are the things that I find so interesting. And what I'll circle back to where I started with the whole thing about if you witness somebody run out of a bank and shoot somebody, get in a getaway car and drive away, and you go, hey, man, he had dark hair, he got in this kind of vehicle, blah, 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 and then you can go to court and send that guy to death row because they match the guy to the car, everything. The description.
It's enough evidence.
It's enough evidence. But that same person can see something of high strangeness and report it, and now they're insane or they're crazy. I don't buy that stuff. Now, can some people missee or misinterpret what they see? Yes. Can some people embellish what they see? Yeah. But once you get rid of all those people, all of them,
there's got to be at least one that's telling the truth.
If there's anyone left over, man, that means it's a reality, and I find that the most interesting.
And then there's another, I don't want to call it a ghost story per se, but a paranormal happening. And you know, and especially in this episode when we talk about like people who have lost their lives, you know, there's no disrespect to them, and you know, all the love and positive vibes to their family and everything. But a while back, there was that case out of Colorado where that guy killed his pregnant wife and his 2 daughters.
Yeah, what was that case called?
I cannot remember, but there's actual cop cam footage. There's 2 investigators. They walk into a closet that was like a
Where
little...
was it?
Colorado. That was like a toy room / closet, and they're
Chris Watts.
Yep. The body camera picked up a little girl giggling.
Yeah,
and the cop
the police's body cam. The police's body cam.
And the cop even asked the other cop, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah, they stopped during the they were searching the house, clearing the house or something, and during the investigation, and they picked up a little girl giggling. And the cop literally turned their head and was like, "Did you just hear that?"
Oh my! That makes my eyes water and makes me shiver.
Wow.
That really does.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, especially like.
Well, this Chris Watts was a real degenerate bastard too, but we won't discuss everything he did. But
yeah, but just you know, to lay the context back of the story, like.
Thank you, Ashley.
And credibility and. Yes, thank you, Miss Ashley.
But yeah, real crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, and then you know, it kind of seems like going back to the whole media thing, people like to try and take that as an opportunity to be like, because I've seen some footage out of, you know, people driving by the house, and it almost seems like they're fame chasers, you know. But then another instance from that house, body cam footage caught a little girl walking across a doorway when the house was empty, now, except for grown cops.
Yeah. Now, here's something interesting, man. I mentioned Ghost Adventures at the beginning of the show. I'm not saying rush out and go watch their content or anything like that, because it's very highly dramatized and all that.
Oh yeah.
But
although their newer episodes are way more entertainment.
Yeah, it's about entertainment basically, but
it's like wrestling.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, very much so. But they do capture some interesting things, though. They were at Deadwood, I think it was, or some Wild West town, and they were in the saloon, and they were sitting at the table. They were drinking whiskey, and they were firing dummy rounds out of real guns. And you hear a woman scream at the top of her lungs after one of the gunshots ring out.
Oh God.
It's just an amazing, like they triggered something. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So can I ask you guys something?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
If ghosts or apparitions or whatever exist, if there's something beyond our veil that is interacting with our realm, do you think the governments of the world are aware of it? Like they've got solid documentation. Maybe like they really know they've got it all down on file, and like they can catalog different actual ghosts or bloody demons or whatever they are. Like, do you think they know what's going on there? Like, know it, and they
Like there's
just
a real cabin in the woods somewhere.
but they won't tell us because maybe they can't control it, and there's nothing that we could do. Maybe it's just so scary that they've got to like not let
Well,
anyone know.
bro,
Maybe they've got to deal with them. That
bro.
bloody sacrifices so many people a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think...
welcome to the deep end of the swimming pool, my friend. Because dude, you could take that, for aliens as well. How if the government has like super high detailed photos of these fucking little drones that are changing shape and going at the speed of like Mach 14 and shit, totally like not using our physics. Like if they've got all that stuff, what would you do with that information? You can't tell me what it is. You can't tell me they're they're good or bad or what their motives are, and yet they're flying around. Like, how would you tell your people that is a reality without scaring the dog shit out of them? Hey,
especially if you've got no control over it.
Yeah, no control over it. I can't protect you from it. I don't have control of the skies above us. Like, we're all living in an imaginary world that we're all safe and secure.
Or even worse, don't have control over it, but they can communicate with it, and even less than have control over it, it has control over them, and via the governments, it has control over us.
Interesting.
Just sorry to go off the right off the deep end, but
but no, about
the
the ghost
warm in
though,
the deep end.
it's very possible that some organization somewhere have some great evidence, I'm sure. But a lot of people have a lot of evidence. Rudig's even if he was joking, he put up a ghost pic extremely fast. A lot of people have
I do
experiences.
have a story about a ghost picture, right?
I do too.
Let's hear it.
So I don't know how many of you guys, some people call it a shoebox camera, some people call it a pinhole camera. But in our high school, we had a project where we had to make a pinhole camera with the shoebox. And what it is you basically poke holes at either end of this shoebox, and you put your film in there, and then you slide, you have something blocking one of the holes, you slide it out of the way so that the film's exposed to light. But to get it to work where you can actually see things, like what you do is we'd go outside where it's bright, and you'd try to take a picture of like the top of the building, the sky. That way it was kind of legible that there's something in the picture, right? Well, we decided to go out to the football field, and we were taking pictures, and my friend took one where you could see the field goal, and you could see the scoreboard, and then it's just the sky up above, right? That's what they were taking a picture of. But when we actually developed it and got it developed, there's a little boy floating, looking down straight at the camera. And then he's looking straight down, like shadow looking straight down. And I mean, like, we're like taking the picture high up, like you can see the tips of the field goal right at the bottom of the picture. So this little boy is floating there in the middle of this picture looking straight down, and the clouds in the background I know we're kind of programmed to see faces, but it's like as soon as you see it they're obvious. There's these faces in the cloud, just like gnarly,
oh my god,
demonic faces.
Wow.
I'm not even
That's
joking.
crazy.
I wish I could get a copy of this, but
Give me the
but it was so weird because you could take the photo and flip it to its side, and then there would be more faces, and then you could flip it upside down, and then there was faces upside from every direction you flip it. It was
Yeah,
really
well, there's a
crazy
thing
photo.
called pareidolia or
Pareidolia.
whatever it's called, and
But
where our
that-
brains make connections. I'm not saying that's what
but that
was
mixed
happening,
in, but that going on mixed in with this shadow of a little boy looking down was just it was so creepy. And it's like you see people do stuff like that with Photoshop, but it's like, no, this was a pinhole camera. Like
Now,
it was like, yeah, go ahead.
something that Sierra and I love to do, and I know that I believe that you and your partner is the same, LoFi. We love to watch. We're going to shout out a few channels. Nuka's Top 10. Nuka Top 10.
Nukes.
Nukes.
Yeah,
Is
Nukes
that what
top
it is?
10,
Nukes. Nukes.
or Nukes top 5. That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, Nukes top 5.
Top 5.
Okay. And then Mr. Ballin, he's got awesome stories. He's a fantastic storyteller.
The Y files.
Yeah, the Y files. All these places, man, they have some fantastic, interesting stories, and some of them, man, may actually end up being true.
I would like to. Can I jump in and tell my picture story?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, it was like a couple years after I graduated high school. So I'd go hang out with my friends, and we'd hang out and cruise around, just out joyriding at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And my base group of friends, we all really were into like the ghosts thing. And we went to the cemetery that my mom was buried in. Okay. And we went, and it was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And it's nice outside. It's like chilly, but it's not to the point where you can see your breath. So it's comfortable. We're in like summer clothes or whatever. And we're just walking around taking pictures, and we go over to my mom's headstone. And I can't remember which of the girls had taken a picture, but they took like 3 or 4 pictures, like, like one right after the other. It was like boom, 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 instant. And off to the side of this one picture, there was this one, I want to describe it as like wisps almost, but if you looked at it, it almost looked like it had glasses.
Oh, wow.
And like, I couldn't discredit it as like, oh, that's our breath, because it wasn't that cold outside. It wasn't misty outside. It was a clear night. It was beautiful, So it was really hard for me to try and discredit that picture. And well, naturally, I'm going to be like, oh, mom's trying to,
you try to make a connection, sure.
I need to see if I can find that picture. Gosh, it was shared on Facebook so many years ago. I don't even know if I have it anymore. If I find it, I'll put it in the Discord.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
But it's definitely, or so my little brother said that he's met our mom before, but that's not possible because he nobody can form memories at a couple weeks old, because my little brother was only like 3 or 4 weeks old when my mom passed away. Oh, wow. And I was talking with my little brother one night, and he, he's really young, and kids talk and tell stories or whatever, but I said something about how I wish mom could be here or something, and he goes, mom sings to me every night.
That's weird.
Yeah. He's like, I've seen her. She sings to me at night.
See, but people say that kids might be able to see something that we quite can't, don't they?
Yup.
Yeah, that is true. They do say that.
That's crazy.
So that could explain, like, I don't think the lights flickering off and on in that instance, I don't think that was mom, but some weird things have happened at my dad's house. Even my sisters have had a couple instances where they're like, that's not right.
Yeah, but I just think that personal accounts you can't dismiss out of hand. Not entirely.
Exactly.
Especially when you get so many people. Like,
my best friend said she's gonna go find it. She's gonna try and find the picture for me.
Awesome.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, cool.
That would be amazing. We'd love to share that. But yeah,
It's all
everybody
such
that's
scary stuff.
everybody that is with us and that has joined us, if you have any ghost stories of your own, we would love to hear yours. And thank you, Rudigs, very much for sharing that picture. And yeah, if you're being 100%, there is something behind you, man. I don't know what that is.
And look, if you look in the second photo, it's in front of him at the bottom left of the photo, like it's moving across the photos.
I didn't see the other one.
Yeah, I didn't see the
Yeah,
other
no,
photos.
I didn't notice it when I was first looking, but he sent 3 photos. In the third one, you can see it behind him, and I don't know where it is in the first one, but in the second one, it's in front of him, right at the front of the camera.
All right, listen.
Bottom left.
Wilson, can you share that?
You see it?
Can you share that to the stream?
I don't think I can on my phone. Let me
There's
have a
that.
quick look.
Okay, so here's the first picture, and there's nothing to the left of him.
Yep.
And
Where's it at?
Oh wow, that is something.
Where y'all looking at?
Yeah. Where is it in the
wow.
first photo, Rue? Where is it in the first photo? Or is
It's
it
on
not
the
there in the
left-hand-
first photo? Is that what you're saying? And in the second
No,
and
I'm
third, it appears and moves across the screen.
Yeah, it
Where-
appears in the second.
Yep.
Where's the photo at? And I'll share it. Where's it at?
It's on Discord.
It's in the general chat.
General chat and Discord. If you could bring that up on the screen, that would be amazing.
Mhm.
Sierra and I are
It's
working
scary
on getting
stuff.
on camera.
Yeah,
We
Rue, you said
appreciate it.
earlier, you want an honest opinion? I believe that's a bloody ghost, man. That's weird what you've got there. That's something
you-
moving across.
If you look at the one of it behind him, it looks like it has an ear. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard to just... And, like, how can that be a shadow? Naturally, you're not going to
No,
get a
that's
shadow
not a
that's
shadow.
all white. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I'm going to try Lo-Fi. Hold on.
I got it.
Oh, I got the window. All right, let me know.
Yeah, it's not there in
Oh,
the
there you
first
go.
one. It was an accidental burst shot.
Yeah, right there on the left-hand side, you see like a blur, almost like a hoodie, somebody getting ready to run through the frame. But when you go to
By
the
his
next
left.
photo,
Yeah.
go to the next photo now.
It's a lot more obvious once you've seen the third one, because you know what it looks like in the
Yeah.
third photo.
So it goes from that to that, and it was moving from left to right. That's real weird, man. Good
That
capture.
thing over his shoulder, that looks like a bloody person.
Although it does look like somebody just kicked you in the nards, though. It looks like you're
Well,
reacting
you can
to the
see
ghost
his
photo.
shadow
That's why-
against it. You can
Yeah,
see
oh,
the back of Rudig's
You
head.
can.
But then go back to
What
the
the-
second photo.
It's like solid.
Look at his left shoulder there, nothing
Wow,
there, right? It's
yeah,
moved
that's-
behind him. Now go
that's
back to the
way
second
more-
photo, Lo-Fi.
That's way more impressive.
Look
looking at
at
it.
the left,
Yeah.
behind his left shoulder. It's like walking behind him.
That's
Bro,
interesting. Yeah,
ugh.
that's interesting.
Oh, that
Let's
gives
see-
me...
Gives
Here we
me
go.
the
I can do it
tingles,
this
makes
way.
my eyes water.
Wow. Well, good capture, man. Now, was that a spirit? Was that a dead person? I don't think so. Not in my opinion, but I don't know what that was, man. That's crazy.
So you don't think that was a spirit or a dead person? You don't think that was a ghost?
Well, that's
speaking?
just it, man. Like, come on, bro. That would mean that, there's hundreds. I mean, dude, think of how many people have been here since our recorded history.
Right, yeah, but who
Yeah,
says
there's no more space, man. There'd be ghosts everywhere. Every time
Right.
you went and started
That's-
your car, and it
that's
didn't
following the-
start, you'd be
that's
like,
following
darn
Civ-
ghost.
So what if
that is following
about
simple
reincarnation?
rules, though, that all ghosts come on like the exact same place. Maybe we have another dimension's ghost. Maybe we're not seeing people from another dimension. Maybe we're
Okay.
seeing a handful of
Okay.
people from another
Wilson,
dimension's
let me put it
ghosts.
this way. 2% of all mankind is still a hell of a lot of motherfuckers.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
definitely
What if-
think it's legit, Rue, honestly. And I mean, Italy is such a historic place. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's
going back
crazy.
to what you said,
That
though,
was
there
in
would be
Italy?
ghosts everywhere.
Or what if some people's souls have to spend a little bit more time on this earthly plane before they get judged?
Well, that's true. So it just depends on what you believe in. Some people believe in reincarnation. Some people,
Mhm.
some people just have no belief.
Well, are
So-
they-
That
human?
statement isn't going to make sense to those that haven't seen the TV show Ghost, but they're just hanging out down here until they get sucked off or go down.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they're waiting to get sucked
That's right.
off.
We're all just waiting to get sucked off. We should have ended on that. That's amazing.
I don't want anyone to go down. I don't want anyone to go down.
Okay, listen. What you need to do, if you guys have a sense of humor and an open mind, and you like the subject of ghosts, on Paramount Plus, David can tell you where to watch it for the UK, but on Paramount Plus, you can watch a show called Ghosts. There's 2 seasons. It's in its 2nd season now, and it is hilarious. Go check it out. It is.
We laugh
it is great.
every episode.
And that show is actually a US spin-off of a UK show, Ghosts, from the comedy troupe who did Horrible Histories. If you live in the UK, you know who did Horrible Histories. But both the UK version, which is just released season 4, and the US version, but you can only get the first season of the US version, are available on BBC iPlayer in the UK. And season 4 is going to release a Christmas special episode. So, yeah, BBC iPlayer in the UK for both Ghosts and Ghost US.
Yep, it's an amazing show. I think you
It's
guys
hilarious.
will certainly have a laugh. And then you'll get the joke about getting sucked off, too.
Yeah.
Good time to end the show anyway. My phone is about to die, so if I leave before the show, I apologise. But it's been fun hanging, everyone.
Yes, Wilson.
Absolutely. See, and like every now and again, William and I'll just like randomly talk about ghosts, and I don't know. It's a subject that I find very interesting because I don't exactly know what it is, but I believe in it, and to an extent, I am terrified of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so we live in an old house.
Oh,
There's an echo.
yep, we got an echo now.
There you go.
So we live in an old house, okay? And underneath this old house, we have a basement. And I hate going into the basement on my own to the point, and naturally, our laundry room is in the basement, right? So I take Buckley down with me. And if he starts acting funny, I evacuate the premises. I don't, to a degree, I am terrified of, black-eyed children. I've heard stories about that, and it fucking terrifies me every time I open the door to let my dog out at night that I'm gonna bump into one of those little creeps.
Oh, the black-eyed children?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have fear in the normal sense of, I'm not necessarily, afraid to die. I might be afraid of the pain that I would suffer through dying, but I'm terrified to bump into paranormal stuff, and, I'll look at William every now and again, and I'll be like, man, I think there's something in the house. You know?
Yeah.
So...
One of those little creeps, Sierra Rose 2K22. That's right.
But, I get this feeling, and some people have a little extra. They can walk into a place and feel uncomfortable. Break it down to science, break it down to, things that we can't even begin to comprehend. You know what I mean? But I feel this intense presence when I'm walking up the stairs to go to our bedroom. It feels like there is a male something rushing up the stairs behind me. And it's only me, And
yeah, it's not me, man. Look, dude, straight up, man. If there was a ghost floating over my bed, dude, I'd be like, yo, are you chipping in? Are you paying rent? Get the hell out of here.
Out. Yeah.
Now, I roll over and look towards my closet door, and the Grim Reaper's standing there. No, man, I'm gonna poop my pants. But
right, you live here rent free, I guess.
Yeah, man. A little ghost, man. You're here rent free. This is my house, man. Wait till I die. I'm gonna haunt you and the new owner.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yes, we can.
Yes, sir.
How's my audio now? I've had to unplug my microphone because my phone was dying.
You sound
you're
just
good.
fine, sir.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say I can attest to what Sierra was saying though about feeling someone running up the stairs behind you. Ever since I was a little kid, I used to feel that in my old, like I said, that nuclear home I used to tell you about, that big house with a big drive. when I would run up those stairs, I would always, especially at night, I would always feel like there was someone behind me, and I would get so scared, and I would run to my room. And if the lights weren't on, if the lights were off, I would be so scared to go up by myself. Sometimes I wouldn't. I would wait for my sister to go to bed. I'd even ask my mum and dad to take me upstairs. I mean, I was a kid. But even when my dad passed away in 2018, I went and stayed in his house. I'd lived there for a couple of years after he died before we could resell it. And when I lived there, I was living there mostly by myself, and I had a girlfriend living with me some of the time as well. But whenever I would go upstairs, I had that same feeling of someone being behind me, and I had to fight the urge to run. But even still, I would skitter to get up those stairs. I was still scared, like I could feel someone there behind me.
Yeah, you know what? And I feel that feeling more often than not, and I can relate 1000% to fight the urge to just run up the stairs. Because, like, I'm afraid something's gonna grab my ankle,
Yes,
like...
yeah, yep, that exact thing. Yeah, I used to feel that all the time in my dad's old house, but it was a
So I
very,
freaking
very old
hide
house.
Feeling
me
like
and-
something's right about to tap you on the shoulder.
Well, it's
Yup.
not ghosts you have to be scared of. It's the aliens that can take you out of your bed, probe you, and put you back, and you had no clue.
How
Okay.
about
God forbid
this?
they suck you off.
Yeah.
The
Woo!
ghosts and the aliens are working together.
Yeah, maybe they are, man,
Who
and
knows?
maybe we only have meetings with them when we're sleeping, and that's why we.
That's why
I
can't-
would love to come back for a Ghosts Part 2 some point, actually, because I've actually thought about a few more ghost stories I've had throughout my life. I hadn't realised beforehand, but I think it's been a really fun conversation. I'm sure you guys could all think of plenty more.
Oh, absolutely, man. The Mothership isn't going anywhere. We're going to be here for a while, and the actual channel is going to be called the Mothership as well. So everybody that's watching and everybody that's listening, we are part or being broadcast partially by the Evolutionary Enlightenment Network, and just wanted to shout that out and to let you guys know that we're syndicated. Where else can people find us, LoFi?
Yeah, I appreciate
Listen
you
to
guys.
this.
Yeah, you can find us on it's on the links are in the description, so you can find it on my channel. So be sure to subscribe there. SPG's got a channel that's linked in the description, and yeah, like you said, the Enlightenment Network.
Can I
But
tell
yeah.
one more story?
All right, how about it?
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
not
for sure.
trying to be all like Mike.
Oh no,
Hodge
I'm into
here,
this.
but- so like I stated, my best friend and I are super duper close. We're like sisters, and there was a point in time where I lived with her and her family, and they also lived in a very, very old home, and she's had a lot of weird things happen. Like and I've witnessed her dog Jingles sitting in front of her bedroom closet, god awful late in the evening at night, or super, super early in the morning, just growling.
Oh, at the closed closet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that would
goodness.
freak me
Freaking
out. That'd freak me out.
Or it didn't even have to be closed. It could be open, and you could see that there was nothing there, and he,
Wow.
And her laundry room before the flood was also in the basement. And we were hanging out downstairs, and she was working on laundry. She was like 10 feet away from me. I was sitting on the couch. She was sitting by the laundry area. Nothing was on. We were home alone. And we heard a giggle come from the little storage area that was behind the couch.
Oh my god.
My best friend looked at me and she goes, "Did you just laugh?" And I said, "No." I was like, "Did you?" And she was like, "No." Oh, all the shenanigans. A lot of the shenanigans I've gotten into has been with you, bestie, and I love your face, and I hope you feel better. She's come down with COVID, and it's hitting her really hard this time. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no,
Soon.
see, that's why I take my dog into the basement with me, Rue. If Buckley starts acting a fool, I know it's time to get out. And there have been a couple of times where I've just gone upstairs and collected my wits, because he'll sit there and stare in the corner. And when dogs stare at something and they're really determined, like they'll perk their ears, they'll cock their head. But he was staring at the corner of the basement, tail down, not moving, which is very unusual for our dog. Very
Oh,
unusual.
God.
Now I can corroborate something about the basement now. I didn't attest it to a ghost or anything, and I still am going to give you an explanation for what I think it was. But I woke, and I'm a hard sleeper usually, man. And I was sleeping on the couch, and ruckus in the basement woke me up. It sounded like it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. It sounded like a whole family of raccoons jumping from like pipe to pipe in the basement, like smacking them together and shit. I
Oh,
think
goodness.
they shut the water off, and when they turned the water back on to the whole city or this little town here, the township, I think air bubbles came through the pipes and shook them. Do you know what I mean? But it was loud enough to wake me up anyway.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying it is, because
Right, yeah,
I would
sure.
I would want to go pay rent or something. You
So-
know,
SPG, do you disbelieve in ghosts?
I don't disbelieve. I believe the phenomenon is real, but I don't know if it's dead people. Now, I mean, I'm sure, man. If if you showed somebody footage of you walking down a hallway and then it looks like a spirit follows you down that hallway, yeah, I'd say you'd go, "Oh man, that's probably a spirit." But what
You're
if
gonna
it's a
be like,
residual?
that's a bad camera.
What if it's a residual and it's just playing back an action that happened before?
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
but that's
So
what I mean.
I don't
So
know.
ghosts, the traditional of people who are stuck on this earthly plane in just their spirit form. Do you kind of disbelieve? Are you skeptical to that existing?
If it's real, if that is real, it's 0.1% of the souls that are actually on this planet, or it doesn't make sense.
Yes, no. I would be. I'd agree with you there. It would just be too crowded. Yeah, it would be like
Yeah.
everywhere has a bloody nightclub, and you'd constantly be walking through dead people. And yeah, no. But I still think they could be like it could be a percent of people, as you say, that they're just
Well, not
stuck
everybody
here
gets
for
sucked
whatever
off.
reason.
Some
No,
people are just stuck here. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
everyone gets sucked off.
no.
Yeah.
Only the
I mean,
lucky few.
You hope to be sucked off, but not every. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, this has been a great show, man. This has been a great conversation. Thank all of you guys for joining us tonight, man. We had a blast. We loved hearing your guys' story in the chat. And if you're watching this back, drop us a comment. I want to hear these stories.
Yeah, and if you'd like to hear us talk about something, let us know in the comments too. So, yeah,
Absolutely. If you'd
subscribe,
like requests for topics and stuff, that would be absolutely fantastic. Sierra and I are working on being on camera, and we're also working on getting a telephone number for you guys to call in. Some kind of way to call in to join the conversation, or
Little known fact, actually. It's kind of appropriate that we're doing this on our anniversary, because when I first started dating William and hanging out with him, he was doing his radio show. So it's just kind of special, like taking me back to when I would come down and hang out with you while you were doing your show. Like, that was just so cool.
right
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you guys again.
Oh, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
man. We've been together for 8 years, and we're still having a blast, man. So we appreciate the well wishes and
Absolutely.
all that, man.
And shows like this is super like, the chat participation is awesome, so don't be afraid to throw us ideas. Like, we want to be able to communicate with you guys, and if there's something you want to see, shoot up a flare and let us know, man, because there's a lot of other different topics we can and we'll talk about. There's
Absolutely.
the world is a vast place, and everything that goes on is even more vast. So, it's just we appreciate you, and don't be afraid to jump in the chat and share topics you might want to see.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us for the Mothership.
Yeah. See you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.